Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to this week's episode of the Small Business Surgeon Podcast. And guys, today we are joined by a special guest from north of the border, all the way from sunny Canada. She is the creator of the Productivity Plus plan and the host of the CEO Amplify podcast. Please welcome to the show, Donna Dube. Donna, welcome.
Thank you, Samuel. So happy to be here.
Man, I'm grateful that you are here. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us. You are the host of the CEO Amplify podcast. And so before we get started, just give us a super quick rundown of who exactly you are and what it is that you do.
Yeah. So I am a certified director of operations, which means I work on the back end of people's businesses, helping usually visionary CEOs with leveraging three things: their time, their talent, and their tactics. And so instead of looking at the marketing and the front side, I'm on the back side saying, how can we put systems in place? How can we make things more efficient? How can we look at the CEO stress level and time? And how can we, maximize the team efforts that we have if we do have a team? So that's where I like to hang out.
That's a cool place to hang out. I've been there a few times myself. Now I'm really keen to know though, how does like a very, very normal person get into such an extraordinary career? How did you get to that career path? Because that's not something that a lot of people can do.
Yes, yes. Well, I like that you said an ordinary person. Some would question that, but I have always been a planner from as long as back as I can remember. I was always the one sort of leading and working out what the process of something was going to be. And my family and friends would probably say I drive them a little bit crazy in terms of planning things out, because I'm one who can't go for a vacation spontaneously, right? Everything's just got to be so. And so that's really been a natural gift of mine, I think, for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got into the online world, I started with project management. And so just coming into businesses and helping them manage a single project. But I really found there was so much more and so much deeper I could go with my clients rather than just that single project. And so that's when I moved more into operations and really
Right.
helping that leader take it from there.
Yeah, for sure. And so did you have like a business background when you got into this? Did you go the same route as a lot of entrepreneurs who like start selling lemonade at 12, or did you go the college route? What happened there?
No, I did not sell lemonade at 12. So actually, I was a registered nurse. So I worked in the ICU for a
Oh,
number of
wow.
years.
Okay.
Yeah, really enjoyed that. And if you look at it, that's a bit of project planning from the patient's perspective.
It's
And
yeah.
then got married, had my kids, and then we decided to homeschool our kids. So I was involved in that for a good number of years. And so
That
now
is
they're
that is
older.
hard work. That is some hard work, man. I got to do that for a couple of years during COVID, and
Mm-hmm.
I as much as I loved spending that time with my boys, I am very glad that they're back in school, and I just drop them off every day, and the teachers take care of that, man. So
Yes, it adds
was
an extra level to parenting, that's for
what
sure.
what was it like moving from a full-time nurse to a like a homeschooling mom? Because like I think a lot of people don't understand the amount of effort that goes into actually running and maintaining a household with an education part to it. What was that
Yes,
like for you?
yes. So it's interesting because I always tell people when you're homeschooling, it's like being a parent on steroids, because you're being that parent all the time, but then the extra level is their education, right?
Yeah, I mean steroids would make it easier
Yeah.
actually to homeschool, I think.
Right.
Sorry.
Yes. So really, it was about like once my husband and I decided we wanted to do this, it was
Mhm.
fairly easy in the early years in the sense that the things that you're teaching them. And so I
Right,
had
right.
time then to kind of explore, okay, where do we go from here as they're growing, right?
Yeah, yeah, for
And
sure.
really we just took each year at a time. So at the end of each year, we'd evaluate, okay, do we want to continue doing this? Is this working for our family? Is
Hmm.
it working for the kids? And so it was kind of a year by year progression. But I do remember, hitting the end of elementary school and making that big decision. Okay, what are we doing for high school? Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of exciting. But
I mean, I know exactly what you mean because I was teaching my 5-year-old about blue triangles, and
Mm.
now I'm trying to teach a seventh grader about the mountainous regions of Texas and the topography and the desert landscape, and I'm like, this is not my forte. So I'm quite glad mine are back at school, to be fair.
Yes, yes.
All right,
I mean,
so
I am thankful for the online world because that has helped homeschooling
oh,
tremendously.
no doubt, yeah, yeah. Um, like it's so difficult to remember life before the internet. It's so
Mm,
difficult to remember life before, being online. And I part of me sounded my entire world is online. I don't
yes.
have any local clients. They're all national clients, and even though I see them in person from time to time, my entire world's online. I find myself yearning for just like not having a phone and not being on social media and stuff. Do you think that that could ever happen again? Or do you think that the internet's now, that's it? I think we're moving forward with this. We're looking at Neuralink, and I think, I don't know, man. It's
Yeah, I don't think it's going away.
mhm.
Changing, yes, for sure. But I don't think it's going away because the convenience in every walk of life is just there, right? You're
Oh
driving
yeah,
somewhere, you need directions, you're going to be late, you want to tell your friend that you're going to
that's
be
true.
late.
Yeah, yeah.
It just comes up in so many areas. And for businesses like globally to
There
be
you
able to
go.
work
Yeah.
together,
Oh, I love it. I do love it. I do worry a little bit about the loss of humanity, but
mm,
like I find myself working all day and having 15 conversations and all of them being over Zoom. So
mm,
anyways, let's leave that a little bit behind us and jump into what it is you actually do, because you help small and medium-sized business owners, but more the CEO kind of stuff. So tell us a little bit about the Productivity Plus program that you have that you help businesses with. How does that work?
yeah. So, what I do is work in a group program, and it's really to help businesses and the CEOs to focus and prioritize.
Hmm.
So, many times, visionary CEOs, and if you're one of them, this is going to resonate with you. You
Hmm.
have 1,000,001,000 good ideas that are
Right,
popping
right,
in your head, right?
right.
Let's do this, let's do that, let's do this. And then you get on a mastermind and you hear about three or more other things that you should do. And controlling that is difficult,
Oh,
and knowing
absolutely.
which one of these is actually going to work for me and my business,
Hmm.
and which one do I need to focus on now, and which one can go in what I call the idea parking lot, right? Because
Yeah.
it doesn't align with my vision and mission right
Hmm.
now. And so helping business owners kind of sort that out, helping business owners with boundaries. Now, listen, we've all heard boundaries before. We should all have boundaries, but
Right.
actually putting them into place so that team and client and family, everybody knows what they are, and then actually following through with those.
Yeah, that's easier said than done.
Hmm.
That's much easier said than done. A lot of business owners, and it's the same for people all over. But I find a lot of business owners get distracted by the other things in life, um, that might be a little more appealing to them at the time than doing business stuff. What are some of the common mistakes that you see fledgling CEOs making, and how do you help them through those mistakes?
Yes. So, one very common mistake is how they're actually using their time.
Hmm.
So, I mean, it's obvious we all have the same 24 hours a day. What is it, 168 hours a week, or whatever it is, right?
Right.
But so many CEOs get stuck in the day to day tasks, what I like to call the maintenance tasks of our business.
Right.
Things like the admin work, the customer service, setting up this email sequence, making an adjustment to a landing page, doing these
Hmm.
things. Those things are things that have to be done. Granted, I won't disagree with that. But here's where I question, do they have to be done by you, the CEO?
Hmm.
Right? And so changing our mindset as CEO to start thinking and acting that way. If we think about a big business, the CEO is not worrying about those minutia details.
Right.
He or she is really focusing on the vision and where we're going, the strategy behind it. And so
Absolutely.
as a CEO of a smaller or medium-sized business, we need to do the same. And we need to have time in our week dedicated to working on that vision and on that strategy.
Do you think the failing there is more through the education system? I feel as though that we are conditioned to be hourly workers. And that conditioning carries over. The mistake I made when I was much younger was thinking that if I wanted more money, all I had to do was work more hours. And I think that a lot of business owners, because they all start out with a job, they all start out paid hourly, they carry that in there with them and they say, hey, the way for me to make more money is for me to work more hours. Do you agree? And if so, how do you help business owners break through that mindset and understand that their time is the most valuable thing?
Yes, I 100% agree. And I too was in the same thing. When I first started my business, I'm like, okay, 9 to 5. Oh, but then this client needs something at this time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, you're stretching to all ends and all
Right.
days. Right. And so, yes, I do think it's a mindset shift that has to happen to say, okay, I'm running this business, but that doesn't mean I need to be tied to my desk 9 to 5.
I think it might be a fear response. I
Mm.
think that they maybe feel guilty for stepping away.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. What do you find the most rewarding thing is in the work that you do? Is it turning the lights on?
I find the most rewarding thing is being able to take a stressed out and overwhelmed CEO to a confident CEO, managing their time, having time in their life for their family, their friends, you know, and allowing them to really focus on those revenue generating tasks
Right, right.
and putting the smaller tasks aside, giving them to someone else, automating them, whatever that looks like, but really helping them peel away sort of the layers of that onion so that they can thrive as CEO.
Is it true that all CEOs have to get up at 4:30 in the morning and go to the gym?
Well, if it's true, then I'm not a CEO.
That's what I heard. I heard if you were going to be successful, you had to get up at 4 in the morning and go run.
Well,
I
there is this, belief that all successful people get up early, do their exercise, have their morning routine, and go, right? I do believe in having a morning routine, and if that works for you, great. But I don't think it has to be at 5 a.m. I think you have to do with what works for you and your season of life, right?
absolutely, yeah. So,
Some people may be in a situation where, like I am now, we're getting to that situation where they call it sandwich generation, where the kids are
yeah,
growing, but
yeah,
then you've got
yeah,
the parents who need some assistance as well,
yeah,
right?
yeah, no doubt. Like we should just enslave them all and put them into manual labor camps, make them a lot more useful. All right, I can't say that out loud, can I?
We
This
didn't
is,
hear that.
this is
No.
supposed to be a business show. I don't know. Um, I totally lost my train of thought now. I apologize.
That's okay.
No, I know we were talking about like CEOs and switching their lights on.
Yeah.
I'm a huge proponent, by the way, of only one 4 o'clock in a day. If I see two 4 o'clocks, it's a it's a poor day. But
Mm.
what does like and I know you've the caveat of what season in life you're at and everything else, but what does a successful day look like to a CEO? Because most guys that are coming in and needing help, they're still running things off paper. They're trying to do everything
Hmm.
themselves. Nobody can do this as well as me. So afterwards, what does a successful day look like for a CEO? How does their structure break down?
Yeah. Good question. So, for me, what I like to see in terms of success is they have a model or an ideal calendar.
Mm-hmm.
And what's in there first is things that are important to them in terms of life, right? So if they have a
Right.
date with their spouse, they want to go for a massage every third week, they want to put their exercise
Wait,
in
you can
there.
put a massage in your calendar? Nobody
Absolutely.
told me that. Oh, there's going to be trouble now.
Right.
Yeah. Do you know?
um,
I never think to do that. No, no.
yes,
I should
yes.
underline self care. Sorry, please carry
Right.
on.
Yes. And so to have those life things in there first,
Hmm.
because I do believe in a business, but also in life, right? Both have
Absolutely.
to work
Yeah.
together. So that goes in
Yeah.
there first. And then outside of that, you put in your office hours.
Hmm.
Now, this pertains whether you're running an online business or a brick and mortar. You can have office hours when your
Right.
team and your clients and you know you're available for work.
Hmm.
For me, that might be 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. because I might do my best type of work at 9 a.m. For someone else, they might not want to start until 11 because that's their peak time, right?
Right.
So
Right.
that would be, adjustable. But then within those office hours, what you do is block off time for those growth tasks. So if you need to set up time to do joint partnerships or do networking
Hmm.
or sales calls or marketing content that you have to write before you pass on to your team, setting up webinars, whatever that looks like for your
Right.
business. Those growth level tasks have some time blocked off in your open hours in your peak time.
Hmm.
And when you sit down to do that, everything else is away. Not 6,000 tabs open, no phone, no notifications,
Hmm.
no knock knock on the door. Like you're really focused and you're in the zone. Because research has shown that if you can get in that flow state, you'll produce much higher level work in a faster period of time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I don't think there's any um question about that fact, man.
Mm,
If I can be left alone with everything switched off, I can get 3 days worth of work done, in an afternoon. I think I think we allow things to distract us far too
yes.
much, and my best work, it happens in the mornings. My heavy lifting I do from about 8 o'clock to about 11:30. And then
Mm-hmm.
my afternoons after I come back from lunch, it's 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock is generally podcasting, content creation, uploading videos, whatever it is I'm doing. And then I do work in the evenings as well, but it's on my terms, and I get to hang out with my kids, and I get to do all that
Yeah.
fun stuff.
Yeah.
So it's hugely important to divide your day up properly. So tell me, Donna, what are some of the biggest lessons that you personally have learned in your business journey? Because it's not always smooth sailing when you run a company, is it?
No, absolutely never.
So tell me about some of these speed bumps that you've hit along the
Yes,
way, and
yes. How much
how you
time do
got
you
around
have?
them.
I've got a lot of lessons. We've all had
Well,
lots of learning along the way, right?
I know that's part of the fun,
Yes.
though, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
fun it's fun to look back and go that was fun, but some days it's not so much fun going through it. I'll give them that.
100%. Yes. So I think for me, two big things that stand out.
Hmm.
One is looking at data to know what's actually working for my business
Yes.
and not listening to all the noise of all the other thousand things I should do,
Hmm.
because sometimes that's not applicable to my business, right?
Right.
So, and I know some of us are a little nervous of spreadsheets and a bunch of numbers, but it doesn't have to be complicated. We can make this really simple.
I love spreadsheets.
Yeah, I do too. But some people, it's not their
Well,
forte,
I
right?
think the thing is because they think they know, and when you think you know something because everybody knows something, and when you cross-reference it against real data
Mm,
from real-time sources, oftentimes you can get completely different answers from what you think you know. And so maybe people are a little bit scared of spreadsheets because they actually hold you accountable.
yes, yes. And I have such a good example of this. I was working with a client who had education courses for new graduates out of
Hmm.
university.
Right.
And so, in her mind, Instagram, TikTok, we had to be on all the channels because young people are everywhere.
Right.
And so, she had one social media person who was working to the max, and she was looking at bringing on another one. But of course, the
Hmm.
budget wasn't really allowing it.
Right.
And so, I challenged her and I said, okay, do we have to be posting on all these channels? Where are people actually coming from? Right?
So many people make that mistake, but please carry on. Sorry, just making me chuckle.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
we've
And
all
so
done it, though.
we've all done it. Yes.
Yeah.
And so, of course, when we look at the data, a lot of people were coming into her world from Facebook, but they actually weren't converting from Facebook. They were
Hmm.
actually converting from Instagram, which was interesting. The other channels, we were hardly getting any traffic, even.
Right.
Right. So it
Hmm.
was such an eye opener for her, I think, to say, okay, you know what? I can let go of these things because for my business, the data is showing me this. And like you say, it
Right.
helps keep us accountable to say, it's okay. I can let that go because it's not helping me anyways.
Right, right. What I learned in the past on that particular topic was
Mm,
take two or take three social media sources and smash them and see what happens. Don't take 19. And everybody seems
mhm.
to want to take 19 and do LinkedIn and Google My Business and Twitter and then add TikTok and then do Facebook and then do Reels. And I'm just like, guys, get two or three really, really good, and then we'll go to the other ones. But
Yes,
the temptation to be on all platforms is huge,
it
but
is.
ultimately, like 80% of your business is going to come from 20% of that traffic, and you just have to find where it is, you know?
Yep,
So,
100%. And this applies to other areas of our business too. Like I always encourage clients that I work with to layer the strategies, right?
mhm.
So to start with a strategy, whether it's for marketing or it's for sales or it's for client delivery, start with one strategy, build out the system, have it
Mhm.
rinse and repeat. If teams involved, they know what they need to do, they're accountable to it, you're hands off from the
Yeah,
most
yeah,
part that you need to
yeah.
be. And when that is running like a well-oiled machine, now we think about bringing on strategy too,
Hmm.
but not before.
No. Or on the show, but if I did, it would be to tell you about the systems and processes I use for running businesses online, which you can find in our Facebook group over at FollowSam.Live. All right, back to the interview. I did want to ask you this
Yeah.
because, you know, a lot of what you do is helping CEOs to free up their time and get their scheduling right. And what that often has to do is delegating tasks. So it
Mm-hmm.
segues nicely into this. I think a lot of us, especially, you know, in the past, have fallen into the, oh wow, you can get a VA for $5 an hour, this must be great. And that's not really the case. So what are some tips and some guidelines that you've got for creating a virtual team, and more importantly, managing that team to be effective and to help the CEO delegate those tasks and get them off his desk or her desk?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I believe that building the dream team, if you want to call that,
Hmm.
starts actually with you. So it starts with you in terms of your leadership, your vision, and your mission.
Right.
Those things have to be clear. So you have to be clear on what your vision is, you have to be clear on your mission, and you have to be clear on your values. And
Absolutely.
then you start with those upfront from right from the hiring process.
Hmm.
Right? So, okay, I want somebody to come and do X tasks. I'm making my job description. Here are all the tasks I want them to do. My values and my vision should be in the job description as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that as soon as potential candidates are reading that, they're going to either start resonating or repelling from that. Right?
Right.
And that's exactly what we want to happen. We want those who don't fit with our values and align with our values to look elsewhere. Right?
Well, it's true.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, you know, I can wish them every success in the world. It just can't be at my table, you know, go at
yes.
the other table, you can go there. And
Exactly.
I think you find that, you know, as you move up in the world, most people are competent at their jobs. It's more important whether you're a great fit for personalities and values and mission. I think that's much more important than competency, because you can train competency
Hmm.
and then you can train values.
Yes, yes, 100%. And so then you bring it in again to the interview process, right? And if you yourself don't want to do this, fine,
Hmm.
hire a hiring agency that will take care of this for you. But again, your mission, your vision, your values need to be again brought into the interview and asking the candidate what their
Hmm.
values are,
Right.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then from there, once you've brought someone on, now hopefully before you bring them on, you've got set up some sort of onboarding, some mentorship, some here's what my business is about, and here are kind of the things we do
Right.
inside this business, right? And that can be videos, that can be some documents that they read, but you need to direct them to something because they can't step into your business and read your mind.
No, no, which is unfortunate. It would be far more convenient if they
It
could.
would. You never know with AI and where we're going. Maybe one day.
Oh, I don't know about that. You know, but I know it's been a buzzword of recent years. But SOPs,
Mm-hmm.
like actually having stuff written down. I like to equate it to McDonald's, where everything's simplified to a little picture. If when the order comes in, they just look at the picture and they make the burger in the picture. And if you can make your business as simple as McDonald's, then it will be, not only will it be scalable, you'll be able to sell it as well. You know, actually have
Yes.
something of value. So I wanted to ask,
Yeah.
what are your strategies for then taking those employees or subcontractors, and because this is difficult, especially in a virtual world, how do you guide them towards building a strong company culture?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Has to be intentional.
Hmm.
And it has to come from you, CEO, usually. If you have a right hand like a COO or a DOO or something like that working, in a leadership position with you, certainly they can take on some of this as well. But intentional culture needs to be started right from the beginning, and it has to be something that you bring into every day. We bring it into the team meetings. You bring it into, a random comment you leave on Slack or, whatever it is. But that has to be something that's front and center. And I
Okay.
think, as the visionary, as the leader, that a lot of that falls on your shoulders.
No, I mean, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
ultimately, the buck stops at your desk, and
Yes.
that's where the leadership has to start too. And me personally, I found it a lot easier as a leader when I do get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go work out. They get to see that that's a part of who I am. It's a part of what I do, and I think they want to be involved a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So Donna, as we're moving through this chat, I know we've not got a lot of time left on the clock, but I wanted to ask you about your podcast, the excuse me, the CEO Amplify podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and what it's like for you having a podcast, and what it was like to jump off and start one.
Yes.
Because
So
it
a
can be
little bit scary.
challenging.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
that's the truth, a little bit scary. And so for me, what I found was I was blogging for a number of weeks, or a number of years on a weekly basis.
Hmm.
But again, when I was looking at the data, I found I wasn't getting a lot of traffic and certainly not a lot of conversions from those blog posts.
Right,
And I
right.
think, time has moved and it's much more convenient for people to just pop in our ears and listen while we're doing something
Yeah,
else, waiting,
yeah.
driving, cooking, whatever that looks like,
Yeah,
right?
for me, it's cooking and washing the dishes. I've
Mm-hmm.
just about always got podcasts on when I'm in the kitchen.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's super convenient.
it's super convenient. Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of when I thought, okay, can I, instead of writing each week, can I do the podcast each week? And
Hmm.
then of course what through my head is like, ooh, can I sit there and talk into a microphone by myself sometimes for 15 to 30 minutes? So that was a little hurdle I had to get over.
Right, right.
But honestly, it's like so many things in life. Once you start, it becomes a lot easier,
Oh yeah, yeah. And
right?
then, well, yeah. I mean, and then eventually you just run out of things to say.
Yes. So I found what helped me was to, again, I'm a system and process girl. So
Right, right.
recorded several episodes beforehand, listened back. I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, okay, I'm happy with these before I even decided to go live.
Uh-huh.
And then, set up a recurring task. For me, I like to sit down and record a few solo episodes all at once. So
Right.
I'm batching them and kind of in the mode, and so
I'm
that
the
way it's kind of,
opposite. I'm
are
the
you?
opposite. Yeah, I do my monologues like the day before because I like to talk about stuff that's gone on during the week.
Okay.
I batched a bunch of them, and then I was listening back. I'm like, well, I'm kind of boring now. I want to talk about this week's work. I want to talk about what we're doing this time, and what I ran across. But like, so batching never worked for me. But like every other productivity person I've met says, batch your podcasts, and
Mm,
I'm just last minute Larry over here. I just love turning.
okay.
I love turning the microphone on and just sending it.
And just going, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
but you may find that you like to batch other areas of your business,
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, we have
Yeah.
to find what works for us, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I'm so blessed to be a podcast host. It's
Mm.
probably it's been one of the best things I've ever done. What's been your favorite thing about having a podcast, and how has it directly impacted your business?
Yeah. So I would say my most favorite thing about having the podcast is just hearing from people all over the world that I never would have heard from
Hmm. Yeah.
before, right?
Hmm.
People that you never even imagined are listening,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
you get a comment or someone leaves a review, and so that's really, keeps me going and helps lighten up your day if you're having a hard day, when
It
you get
does.
those kind of emails.
Yeah. 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 That's pretty cool. All right, Donna. What's going on with the Productivity Plus plan and what your plans for the future are? Can you tell us some things you've got coming up that you're working on, that you're
Yeah,
looking
for sure.
forward to?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So this time of the year, it's Q4. Everyone is rounding out the year, trying to get the last minute things in, but
Mm-hmm.
also thinking forward to next year, 2024, and what's to come and what's working, what's not. So I like to play a role in that, of course. So I have quite a few sessions of strategic planning
Right.
where I sit down with business owners and, really map out. We start right from the foundations. What are your personal expenses?
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, what revenue do you need to make to be able to cover those personal expenses?
Mm-hmm.
And then what programs, products, or services are you going to sell to be able to reach that revenue goal? Because
Right.
the truth is, picking a revenue goal is great. But if it's just a pie in the sky number and we have no idea how we're actually going to actualize it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like they missed the reverse engineer the goal part. Like,
Exactly.
but the glorious thing about that is, right? So I've got a revenue goal,
Mm-hmm.
I want to do $250,000 a month
Mm-hmm.
in gross revenue. And that sounds like a lot to some guys,
Mm.
but when you break it down, no matter what now, I only focus on opportunities that will pull me towards that. And so I think people often overlook the how critical, like actually taking that number and going, okay, what would it take for me to hit that? What would I have to make every day? How many people would I have to talk to? How many deals would I have to close? How many things would I have to sell? Like, she's on audio, guys, but she's nodding along. This does go out on video.
100%.
It does. Most people are listening. She's just there nodding.
Yes, yes, it's 100% that way
Mhm.
because without reverse engineering that, it's very difficult to know, am I meeting my goal? So then 2
Right.
months in, you can actually evaluate. Well, I
Hmm.
prefer to do it every month, but you can actually evaluate, okay, what was my monthly target? Am I getting close to it? Did I surpass it? If I'm not getting close to it, what kind of things can I do to get closer to her? Maybe I
Right.
need to reach out to a few people or tweak something or do a flash sale, whatever that looks like. But,
Hmm.
um, you know, get that snowball before it gets too big and you can actually get a hold of it and make a change.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when I was in real estate, I had about a 4% closing ratio on inbound leads. But that just meant I had to have 100 conversations and I'd be set for the month. When
Right.
you broke
Yeah.
it down backwards like that, it became much easier to fail because it wasn't 96 no's. It was
Yes.
like, I'm getting paid so much money to hear a no. I'll just call the next one and the next one, you see. And I think a lot of us overlook that. And then what happens is your financial goals become just enough to live on. Your
Mm-hmm.
main goal is to work for yourself, and that's what happens. And I think a lot of business owners get tied up with, oh, I've made $8,000 this month, all the bills are paid, I'm great, I'm just gonna coast. And
Yeah.
so do you see that happen a lot?
100%. Yes. And what I see then happens is this feast or famine mode that I like to
Hmm.
call it, right?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
we're busy, we've got a good month, we're busy with client delivery, and that marketing ball, we kind of drop.
Yep.
We forget to keep getting new leads into our pipeline. And then we finish up, or the projects that we're working on are starting to finish up, clients are finishing, and then we're like, oh no, I don't have anybody more. And then we race again to get more leads, right? And so,
Yeah.
again, having that rinse and repeat marketing system in place where you're continuously doing the thing week after week. I mean, the podcast is a prime example, right?
Yeah.
You're
Hmm.
consistently putting out episodes week after week. And
That's the
that,
plan. Yeah.
right? And that helps. So you're not dropping the ball and forgetting and leaving people because the truth is, listeners want something consistent.
Right. Right. No doubt. And I find myself getting angry with podcasts because they only put out one episode that week. And I'm like, come on, guys, I want to listen more. I want to
Right.
hear the next part of the story.
Yeah, I have to
So
wait till next week. Oh.
but then there's some weeks I don't feel like putting out an episode. Some weeks I just like, what, I'm gonna wait till next week till I've got something better to say.
Mhm.
Um I I don't know that there's any need for 9 or 10 episodes a month. 6, 7, or 8 might be okay too. So it's always that
Yes.
finding that balance. All
Yes.
right, man. Donna, I've got just a couple more questions for you. All right.
Yeah.
So this is one I ask like everybody, and it's been my absolute pleasure hanging out with you today. This show is aimed at guys that are a few years behind us in the business curve, and so I wanted to ask, if you could go back 10 years and talk to Donna from 10 years ago and give her a couple of pieces of advice for the future and for her growth, what would you want to go back to someone with 10 years less experience than you, and what gift would you give them?
Nice. Yes. I think definitely, Samuel, I would say start thinking like a CEO when you're a solopreneur.
Right.
Right. So, day one, I know you're doing all the things because
Mm-hmm.
you don't have anybody to help you. You probably haven't figured out software yet. So, I get that. But as you start to grow, start to automate things that you can, start to delegate, even if it's a little bit, but make sure you have time every week for being and acting like a CEO. And so I like to do that through something I call CEO Power Hour, which is really a weekly date with ourselves
Right.
as CEO to spend time reviewing, reflecting, and figuring out what are the top priorities, what are those growth level tasks that are going to move the needle forward in my business.
I love that.
3 that I need to do this week, and then get them
Yeah.
on my calendar.
Along with a massage.
Yeah, right.
I had no idea you could put those on account. I'm going to have a word with somebody at the office and make sure I can get those.
That's right.
I had no idea.
Yes.
Donna, I've had an absolute blast hanging out with you today. Thank you for coming on the show. I want to ask you before we leave, for the guys that have enjoyed listening to you and would like to learn more about Productivity Plus and working with you, where can they get a hold of you?
Yeah. So they can listen to the podcast, which is CEO Amplify. And then, other than that, they can come to my website, which is ceoamplify.ca. And when
Mm-hmm.
you go on that homepage, right there will be a chance to download actually a PDF for the CEO Power Hour. So if that was interesting to you and it's something that you want to incorporate into your business, that PDF will walk you through. Okay, I've got this hour booked off. Now what do I do?
I love that. I love a little free giveaway and something to read. So I'm going to go over there and check that out. That was ceoamplify.ca, right?
That's correct.
Wonderful. We will put those links in the show notes. Donna, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been my absolute pleasure to talk to you today.
Thank you, Samuel. Enjoyed it.
Guys, that was Donna Dube. Stopped by to spend some time with us today. She is the host of the CEO Amplify podcast. And guys, if you want that CEO Power Hour PDF, do yourselves a favor, run on over to ceoamplify.co. There'll be a link in the show notes, and put your email in. You can download that for free and get started. All right, that is going to do it for the show and for us for today. You'll be good, stay safe, and check in with me this week on Friday for another episode of Friday Fire. All right, bye-bye. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the show for today. Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed the conversation that we've had and you want to learn a little bit more about the systems and processes involved in running businesses online, join our Facebook group over at FollowSam.Live. All right, that's it from me for today. You'll be good, stay safe, and I'll see you next week.